Hey, my name's Erin and welcome to my channel that at one point was a beauty and lifestyle channel, but now is basically just a channel of a very sad girl with a misplaced sense of self-importance. Welcome to my channel. I have not been doing so hot lately. I actually haven't filmed anything in like a month. Like the Jenna McDougall, the Jenna McDougall tutorial, that I just put up, that was from like a month ago, and the last time I filmed was Warped Tour, which was literally almost a month ago, and I've been wanting to film because I feel like this is the best outlet I have. I have a blog that I'm not very active on, and I really want to be more active on because you don't care about this. Anyway, I've really not been doing well. I've been having panic attacks again, and I've been more depressed than I've ever been in my entire life, and I don't know why. And I've never hated my body more. Just a whole cluster of things. And the thing is, whenever I'm having a panic attack, or even just when I'm having a hard time, I guilt spiral and I start listing in my head every single solitary thing that's wrong with me and all the things that make me a horrible person. And one that always comes up in my head, that has always come up in my head ever since I was little, is that I don't have the right to be this sad. And I think this is something that a lot of people with mental illness, whether it be an eating disorder or depression or whatever, people who had no past of trauma or anything that is completely linked to them developing / their mental illness manifesting, because that's what a lot of it's tied to. Like the textbook thing for eating disorders is you either had like parents that were really strict on your weight, or you got bullied for your weight, or you were just all these like things, or you had overbearing parents, like, but to the point of it being like borderline abusive, or you've come from abuse, you've come from molestation, all of these horrible things that those people have every right to be depressed and to be sad and to have PTSD and to have problems. And here I am sitting in my beautiful bedroom in a very, very cute little town. I go to college, I get to dorm there. Here I am sitting in such privilege compared to so many people. I didn't lose a family member until 8th grade when I lost my grandma, and then everybody started dying, my dad and my cousin and all that. But before then, I had nothing, and I was already depressed far before any of this trauma happened. And I just think that a lot of us tend to be like, I don't have the right to feel this way because I had a nice childhood, or I have 2 parents that love me, or this or that, or I have money, or I have this education, or I have this job. And the thing that I'm trying to make myself come to terms with is the fact that you have the right to your feelings no matter what they are. Like, if something is making you feel so horrible to the point that you're having panic attacks, or to the point that you physically can't get up because you're so depressed, those are real and those are valid. It doesn't matter whether or not they have a point or they were caused by something. That's not what mental illness is. Mental illness is an illness. Depression is an illness. Clinical depression is an illness. Like chemical, because there's situational depression, and then there's like your chemical. And anyway, anorexia is a disease. Bipolar is a disease. Generalized anxiety is a disease, and they're not something that you need to have a cause for. They're something that just came with you when you were made. It was part of the package that that made you. And like some people are triggered by horrible events that happen in their lives, and that's what flips that little switch in their head that makes them go from not mentally ill to mentally ill. And then there's some of us that it just flips by itself, and I don't want to say that's okay, because obviously it sucks, but you're allowed to, and you shouldn't feel guilty for feeling the way that you feel. I mean, like, when you have depression, or especially depression, you're not taking the things that you have in life for granted. That's not what it's about. And I remember when I was little, I used to have really bad panic attacks when I was little, but I didn't know they were panic attacks. I'd have full-on meltdowns, and something my parents would always say to me, they'd start bringing up children who were homeless or children who had no food to eat. And that would just make me feel worse, because it's not like I don't think about those people. I think about every person on the planet every single solitary day and beat myself up about the fact that I feel this way and I'm so depressed and I'm so sad and blah 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 blah, when there are people that are struggling to survive each and every day. And the thing is, there's always going to be, that's not a productive way of thinking. Because the worst thing that ever happens to you is the worst thing that ever happens to you, no matter what it is. Whether it's losing your home, losing your parent, or a breakup, or something more trivial than that. If that's the worst thing that ever happens to you, and it's something that affects you in such a way that you are completely melting down, that's valid. There's always going to be people on the planet that have it worse than you, and there's always going to be people on the planet that have it better than you. The key is to not feel guilty for where you are. Obviously, to acknowledge that you have what you have and be grateful for it, but to forgive yourself. To forgive yourself for staying inside all day because you have too much anxiety and you're too disgusted by yourself to go out in public, and you're wasting this day of your life that you feel like you don't deserve. You feel like other people should be alive and you shouldn't be alive, and you don't feel guilty for these things, because it's like if you're knocked out with the flu for a week. You can't feel guilty that you're knocked out with the flu. If you're knocked out with depression, it's not that much different, honestly. And it's just treated differently, and it's stigmatized. And I think that the mentality is, oh, you just gotta push through it, and you just gotta man up and get better, and just do it. Come on, just do it. And the thing is, it's not that easy. And while you absolutely have to put some effort into recovering, you have to do some sort of therapy or whatever works best for you. You have to do the work if you have any hope of ever being free of your mental illness and not being a prisoner to it. But you're also not in control of the fact that you have it. And the fact that even if you are already working on it, even if you're like me and you've been in therapy for 6 years and are still having really horrible panic attacks and are still really not doing well, acknowledging the fact that you're doing the work and that's valuable, you're just not there yet, and that's okay. You can't go from 16 years of depression and self-harm and blah 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 just to being this bright and happy person. It's not that easy, and there's a lot of relapses along the way. For every step forward, I feel like I take 5 steps backwards, and there's this fear around getting better because whatever your disease is or whatever your label is becomes almost who you are, and you're scared of who you're going to be without it. And mental illnesses, in a way, protect you from the outside world, which sounds crazy, but like when you have a lot of social anxiety, it keeps you inside, so it keeps you inside in this little bubble away from the big dark world. When you have multiple personalities, those different personalities exist to protect you. They exist to be able to handle situations that you're not able to handle yourself. When you have an eating disorder, it's a way of assembling some sort of control in your life, or feeling like you're assembling some sort of control in your life. So you can just curl up in this little ball and away from the rest of the world, and it's safe in your little ball, because the world out there is big and scary. And coming to terms with that, and coming to terms that this is something that you love in a way. It's a part of you in a way, but it's not all of you, and it's not even most of you. And if you let it go, you're still going to be you. If you let it go, you're not going to become less interesting of a person or lose who you are. You're going to become so much more than what you are right now. So that's where my head's been at lately. I don't even know what I'm doing. But this is getting long, so thanks for watching. Bye. My ears won't stop ringing and I want to explode. I'm gonna go make some coffee. Oh my god.